Some of us, we've never learned how to rest. And it's not because we don't need it, but it's because we were taught that rest is wasted time, that stillness is selfish, and that quiet makes us invisible, and that value is what we do and not who we are. And so we became useful, we became helpful, we became needed, productive, always doing, always proving. And somewhere in that cycle, we forgot how to just simply be. This is Uber Bintegers, where integrity leads and intimacy dares us to be seen. But let's get into this. See, this episode marks the beginning of our second week in the Undoing the Lies, or What is Our Worth? And today we're naming one of the most pervasive of them, and that is the lie that our worth is tied to our usefulness. See, we didn't come up with that belief on our own. It was embedded in nearly every system around us. Schools taught us that grades defined our value, and then work taught us that productivity earns us respect. And then family may have even taught us that being helpful is really what makes us lovable. And then some of us have been in religious spaces that taught us that serving others was the path to being good. And of course, society teaches us that busyness equals success. And what did that leave us but to adapt? We performed, we overgave, we learned to anticipate needs before they were even ever spoken. We became the dependable ones, the ones who show up, the ones who say yes, the ones who rarely ask for anything in return. And this worked until it didn't, because usefulness is really a shaky foundation for one finding their worth. See, if your value is based on what you do, then who you are, it doesn't really matter anymore. See, when you're tired, when you're burnt out, when you're grieving, when you're injured, when you're empty, see, that's when the lie shows its full weight. Because now we feel guilty for resting. We feel ashamed for being unavailable. And we feel panicked when we can't produce or keep producing. And we feel unworthy when we're not being needed, right? But let's maybe name this as clearly as we can. We were never meant to earn love with labor. See, love that has to be purchased with usefulness, that's not love. That's a contract there. And many of us, we've been living as if our relationships are contracts. And so we give our time, we give help, we give effort, we silently hope that it's going to be enough to keep the people around us. But this is the trap. See, the more that we define our value through usefulness, the harder it becomes to receive love without doing something to deserve it. See, we can't rest. We can't let others care for us. It's so difficult to let them do so, and we can't even ask for support. We can't even show up empty, because we've told ourselves, maybe not consciously, but consistently, that if I'm not useful, then I'm going to be forgotten, right? If I'm not productive, then I'll easily be replaced. If I'm not helpful, then I'm more of a burden. If I stop giving, I'll stop mattering altogether. And that is a brutal way to live, because it never lets us be whole. It only lets us be functional. But integrity demands far more than this. Integrity is really about alignment, right? Between what's true inside of us and then how we live outside. And if what's true is that we're exhausted, or we're in pain, we're achy, and we're just longing for rest, but we keep on performing anyway, like, that's not integrity. That's fear. That's survival. That's running on empty. And intimacy isn't about what we're offering to others. It's about how much of ourselves we're willing to be seen in the midst of. And it's hard to be seen when we're hiding behind performance, right? I mean, here's the uncomfortable truth that may be difficult to consider, but listen, many of us have been praised for our usefulness, but rarely have we been loved for our humanity. And when that happens long enough, we start to confuse the two. And so let's maybe ask some honest, challenging questions here. Consider, where do you feel most valued in life? Is it when you're helpful or when you're honest? And where do you feel the safest? Is it when you're giving or when you're resting? Or where do you feel the most anxious? Is it when you disappoint someone or when you abandon yourself completely? See, these questions matter. These questions matter because they expose the lie that we've been living amidst for a long season. And they call us back to the truth. See, we are not our usefulness. We are not our output. We are not machines that just keep on ticking 24/7. We are not even emotional vending machines. We are not defined by what we can do for others. What we are is we are people. And people need rest. People get overwhelmed, right? People need reciprocity. People deserve love that doesn't have to hinge on their capacity to serve continually. So, let's talk about what this shift actually looks like in real time, shall we? Because we can't just think our way into this kind of dynamic. I think we have to actually experience and live it. See, living like we're not our usefulness could mean something like the following. It can mean saying no when we're tired, even if someone is disappointed. It could mean resting before we're burned out, not after we're burned out. It can mean letting others actually help us without having to rush them to return the favor. It means believing that our presence is actually enough, even when we bring nothing else to the table, or practicing intimacy not by offering more, but by actually revealing more of ourselves. This takes unlearning, and grief is part of the process, I would say, because we might have to grieve the relationships that only worked when we were useful. We might have to, in some way, grieve the parts of ourselves that equated exhaustion with value. And we might even have to grieve the version of ourselves that thought that love had to be earned through sacrificing ourselves. But you see, on the other side of this grief, this is where freedom is. Freedom to be real. Freedom to be slow. Freedom to be held. Freedom to be unproductive. Freedom to be whole. Because our worth does not increase with our to-do list. And our worth doesn't disappear when we pause amidst all that has to be done. But let me also name this as well. Undoing this lie is extremely difficult. It's so challenging. It can feel terrifying because rest does not come easy when usefulness was the shield that you've been wearing for years. When it was the very thing that got you praise, that can be discombobulating. That it was this very thing that kept you connected, right? The thing that gave you a reason to feel that you were needed in life. And letting go of something like that, like your identity, it could feel a lot like standing naked in a room and you're not in control. But that nakedness, that's where intimacy begins. That's where integrity becomes embodied. That's in essence where we remember that we were never just what we could give, right? We were always far more than that. So today let's pause. Let's pause. Take that opportunity in the pause to ask the following. What would I still be worth if I stopped producing? Or what would I still deserve if I stopped proving myself? Or what kind of love do I want to build now that I know I don't have to buy it or purchase it through productivity? See, we're not here to be useful. We're here to be whole. We're here to be witnessed. We're here to be known, to be held, and held not just when we're helping, but even when we're healing. In tomorrow's episode, I want to unpack how our self-worth gets distorted when we measure it against metrics that never really loved us back. But today, let's get off this platform where we have to perform continually. Let's maybe stop confusing usefulness with our worth. And maybe in the midst of this, let's come home to the quiet and powerful truth that we were already enough, even in our stillness, even in our rest, even when we bring nothing but ourselves. It's in this space that we can find true rest. Thanks so much for listening. I will see you in tomorrow's episode.